The Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. With your hosts, Joe Bond.
You're awful.
And AJ Applegarth.
It's Sin Shu Chu. It's a mouthful.
All right. Welcome to the Fantasy Six-Pack Hour. My name is Joe Bond, founder of FantasySixPack.net. With me as usual in a very colorful attire tonight, AJ Applegarth. What's up, man?
Well, since I didn't get to go on vacation, I might as well look like I just came from vacation. Gotta represent my boy Trey Mancini here.
Yeah, man.
O's kicking some ass in the home run derby there.
Hit a buzzsaw.
Yeah, and then Pete Alonso just decided to, breathe towards the baseballs, and they just flew out of the stadium.
Yeah, he was like dancing in between pitches. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I liked it.
It was fun. It was really fun to watch. But you're like, how in the hell?
Yeah, he was having a good time, and I like it, man. I think it's good for the game, and gets people maybe a little more interested in it, because I know, like you, I was completely out of baseball last year. I just did not.
Yeah, last year was done. This year has been a little rough for me. I haven't been into it as much as I usually do, or usually am. That was definitely one of the far more one of the more entertaining home run derbies I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, it was great, man.
It's very fun.
What of it that I saw? I missed a lot of the first rounds, but caught on to it after that and just kept watching, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was a really, really good one. And, I mean, it helped that Mancini was going far, but, like, honestly, even without him, it was still a very entertaining one. Like, all the matchups that were, like, by one home run or two home runs each, like, it was super close. It was super entertaining. And these guys were just, with cores, and they removed the humidifier thing, the humidor or whatever they call it. These guys were launching the ball 520 feet. Juan Soto, congrats to that one, man. That record is not being broken until they get back to cores. That's incredible.
It was nuts. I mean, just the thing I didn't like about it was the side-by-side screen, because the guys are just up there talking about, there's a good one, and you don't know which freaking ball they're talking about. The things are flying left and right, and some of the swings, I mean, especially with Mancini, he was in that, like, fast pitch, fast swing.
Oh, right, yeah. It was like,
just like,
that one's out. Wait, which one's out? Yeah, no, I get you.
Is it in? And then they just, like, randomly pan over to kids in the outfield trying to shag balls, and it's like,
it's hard to follow. It is, but it's still fun. It's still fun to see those, like, monster moonshots, man. It was good.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got a great show tonight. We're going to be talking about the AFC West. We got a great guest, Troy King, with us. Before we get rolling, though, just want to remind everybody to follow us on your favorite platform, YouTube, Anchor, iTunes, Slacker, Spotify, you name it, man. We're there. So go ahead and follow us, rate us, whatever you got to do. And then real quick, we had that fundraiser open for MS. We were raising money for MS for the last few weeks. We raised $1,517, everybody. So that was
beautiful.
Great. Fantastic to send that. So I'm super happy to be able to do that. But anyway, man, let's jump into this show and bring on our guest, Troy King. What is up, man?
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm just excited to be here, man. Thank you for the introduction. I'm ready to, chop it up with y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Troy, you're a contributor for the Football Guys, also co-host of their mailbag show, and then also co-host of the Fantasy Football Confidential, which we had your partner in crime, Linda, last week here. So that was a good time with her. So you do a lot of good stuff, man. We're happy to have you on. But before we get moving to the AFC West, let's do our beer of the week.
Beer.
Troy, as guest of honor, you can go first, man.
Sure. So I'm gonna disappoint the people. I don't have a beer, but
That's all right.
I got a
We
high
don't
noon.
discriminate.
No problem. I got a high noon, right? So like,
We good,
I'm not
we
a
good.
huge seltzer person, right? But people have been hyping these up, right? Because I don't really like White Claws, I don't really like Trulies. People are talking about these, so like, I got me one, and I have to admit, like, as a person who doesn't like seltzers, this is pretty good, right? It's chill, so for me, I like it, right? It's refreshing, right? It's not like I'm probably gonna have to have like 5 of these to really like feel something, but it's a nice chill drink if you're not trying to turn up or anything. So I like it.
Yeah, no, that's good. I have not found one of those that I've liked yet, but I have not tried High Noon, so maybe I will give it a try.
Yeah, so. I went to the store tonight and picked up my drink of choice for tonight. Is I got to give a shout out to one of my best boys here, DK Nugs, DPC 146. You know who you are. New Trail Brewing Company is it's brewed up in Williamsport, PA, and it's like his go-to now. And he's turned me on to it, and I finally was able to pick some up because I work in PA, and I haven't seen it down here in Maryland yet. So I got the Gummy Bears IPA. It's a milkshake IPA, which I haven't had a lot of these, but this one almost tastes more like a sour to me. It's just got like some hints of this lactose, I guess it's brewed with the vanilla, orange, and raspberries. So
that'd be the milkshake part.
It's get out. No way.
But then you said sour, then you talked about lactose. So
yeah,
that didn't make sense.
It's the orange and raspberry is
yes,
like it's kind of kicking in on the after flow, I guess, and it's pretty tasty though. I'm a fan of it. So.
All right, so I'm drinking one of the ones that you dropped off in my place, AJ, and it's the Firestone Walker Mind Haze Double IPA.
Oh yeah,
this is a good one, man. I'm gonna probably rate this one like a 4 1/4. This is a tasty one, big time.
Yeah, Mind Haze is.
The regular Mind Haze is good. This one's.
Oh, that one
way
crushed
better.
it.
This one's way better.
It's just like I'll take a couple of those.
I opened this one.
That's about it, because then my mind is in a.
And I went, yeah, this one might go down fast, which is scary because it's 8.3. So, these doubles are no joke, man.
3, and it's in a 12-ounce can. This one's
That's
a
wild.
7.2 in a 16-ounce can. So,
well, we usually do like 9s and 10s in 16 ounces. So
but
we're usually awesome at the end of the show, Troy.
Man, I'm not gonna tell you. This one has only got 4.5, so I'm gonna be the most sober one after this.
Probably will be. All right, man. Let's jump into this AFC West.
Once this is done, but
let's jump into the AFC West here, and we like to kick things off not with typical fantasy questions, but just NFL football questions, right? And obviously, the Chiefs are the king of this division, as they should be, right? I mean, honestly, though, like, do you think any team has a remote chance of taking them out?
I say remote. I guess you gotta give it to the Chargers, right? But at the same time, like, they're the only one who's gonna really put up a fight. Like, Denver has a good defense, but their offense isn't good enough to really compete. So for me, I'm just like, they don't have competition. But if I have to give a nod to anybody, it's got to be, the Chargers. They have a vastly improved offensive line. We know how good Justin Herbert is. Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Austin Eckler. The defense is hopefully, going to be coming to life more this season. And so I'll give them a nod, but they still don't have a chance, but they have by far the best chance in the division.
Yeah, I agree with that, AJ.
Yeah, I mean, Denver's got some talent. They've got Melgo. They've got, an awesome receiving core. Judy is just incredible with his route running. So I would love to see him actually play with a quarterback, maybe like Justin Herbert. That would just be disgusting. And would definitely challenge the Chiefs at that point. But I mean, it's hard to go against Big Red. It's hard to go against Patty Mahomes. I mean, there's so much talent on that team.
So good.
It's just so good all the way around. I mean, every facet of that team is phenomenal. So it's hard to go against them. But yeah, I would have to lean towards LA. I mean, if anyone's going to challenge them, the Raiders. No. I mean, they've got a couple of good pieces, but they're about 16.
AJ, where'd we go?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you are gone.
Okay. Let me
maybe figure some things out, and I'll talk to Troy here for a second. So, Troy, the next question we had with this is, we talked about, and I think we got him back, but we talked about, and we're back. Yeah, we have no idea. So the next question we had with this was, obviously Denver is. People have high hopes for them. They did last year. It didn't work out. Obviously, the quarterback situation is the biggest problem there, as most people think. If they don't figure it out this year, like what are the odds you think they just go straight after a quarterback next season in the draft?
100%. 100%. Like I feel like it's Drew Lock. He'd have to have an unbelievable season to me for the Broncos not to be in the market for a QB next year. Like, I just don't see it happening. I think like he could be fine. I know there's like, some injury concerns and things like that with Drew Lock, but it's like, I feel like we always have to give him excuses, right? Like, the most memorable thing about him is, on the sideline when he was rapping to like, the Jeezy song, right? That's what I think about when I think of Drew Lock. And we've seen like
that's true.
And we've seen
Sad,
some flashes. Yeah, we've seen some flashes of like a competent QB, but he's not going to be like a franchise saver. He's not a franchise quarterback. And there's no one who could convince me otherwise. Like, he's fine. Like, he's a fine quarterback, but he's young. I know, again, you can give him a lot of excuses, but what we've seen from him, it doesn't show me, okay, like this guy is going to be the man who's going to take the Broncos to the playoffs. Like, no, he's just not that dude. And I think he could be, again, he might have, if he has an okay season, he's going to get his job replaced. He literally has to do something phenomenal for them not to be looking for a quarterback next year.
Yeah. I mean, and they brought Bridgewater in this year. I mean, I loved Bridgewater in college. I thought he was a phenomenal college quarterback. Obviously, the college game is a lot different, but, he never really got a good shot in the NFL until last year. I feel like he finally had a spot. And then Denver brings him in, and then it's like immediately they're talking about trading for Aaron Rodgers. It's like, I'm Teddy Bridge, I'm like, man, come on. Like, what do I got to do around here? So
if you get replaced by Aaron Rodgers, you've got to understand.
Well, great. I mean, first ballot Hall of Famer, of course, but I mean, it's just like a run of horrific luck for Bridgewater.
Well, it's almost like Tyrod, right? It's like Tyrod's a solid quarterback.
Yeah,
solid quarterback, just like Bridgewater. Like, he can run a team, but he just keeps getting replaced, and there's a reason for that. AJ, like, let's be honest, there's a reason for that. So, yeah, we can probably move on here.
Caught up to the NFL game.
Yeah, so we can probably move on here to the quarterbacks and run through some ADP real quick for these guys. Mahomes at 1, obviously. Justin Herbert 7, Derek Carr at 24. Teddy's at 35, then Locke's at 36. I mean, people are just obviously writing these guys off big time. The only league I've obviously ever seen them drafted in is Scott Fishbowl, because there's like 45 quarterbacks that get drafted in Scott Fishbowl. So it is what it is. But let's start off here with Kansas City. There's really, obviously not a lot of people have a lot of concern, but I just want to ask your opinion here. Like, any concern at all with Mahomes and this toe injury, which he dealt with in the playoffs, and, we had surgery on it. Like, any concern at all that this lingers into the regular season and it affects his performance at all?
No, it's pretty much zero. Like, not even a little bit. Like, and I get the question. Like, look, it's we don't want to take injuries too lightly because, again, that's something that he had to deal with. And obviously, I believe that obviously played a part in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. But you know what? I believe that coming into the season, I just don't see it being a huge factor that we would need to be talking about. I think he's going to be fine. He has plenty of time to recover from it, so I'm not too worried about it.
Totally not AFC West related, but did y'all hear about Tom Brady was dealing with an MCL tear?
Yep, the
like,
whole season. Yeah.
What? And he said nothing and got to won the freaking Super Bowl.
It's like, whatever.
That's insane to me.
I didn't care because I wanted to be out of New England so bad that I actually tore the MCL while running to the plane to leave town.
That's really funny.
Guess what?
That is funny.
I got another ring. So,
dude, that was crazy. But he got surgery on it, so that it'll be sort of interesting to see how that affects him this season because that's not a minor injury at all. Like
no.
Turf toe, I guess, not super minor. We've seen that affect players long term for a while there, but yeah. Anyway,
I mean, that's an easy question. It's like, no.
I know.
Mahomes? No. All right,
that was a layup. Now let's get into some hard ones. Go for it, AJ.
That was like giving Ben Simmons a free throw and him actually making it. So.
Oh, no. Let's not talk about Ben Simmons.
Dude.
I can go on a tangent about him. Oh, my God.
We'll save that for after the show. Then.
I mean, at least Troy finished that answer in 10 seconds. I'm like, Giannis.
Yeah. I mean, but do you like Ben Simmons? Is that what I'm hearing? Is there?
I think he's a fine. Look, I'll just say that an all-star player in Game 7, only scoring 5 points. That's all you need. That's all I need to say. Okay.
Exactly.
Nope.
Exactly. All right. So back to some other perennial all-stars, Locke and Bridgewater. So which one of these two guys actually provides Denver the best fantasy bargain? Or not necessarily Denver, but for Denver, for their managers. And do you trust either one of these guys in a super flex or 2-quarterback league?
So I say that their value's pretty much even, right? But I'll just go Locke just because he's been in the system longer. And I know Teddy had a good year last year, in terms of for Teddy standards. Yeah, he had a solid year, but I'll just go with Locke because you know what? I know that Locke's going to target his guys. And to me, like I view Locke as the starter. So I'm just going to go with Locke there. I think both of these guys are QB3s for your Superflex team, right? If you're relying them as your QB2, it's hopefully a bye week. You know what I mean? Like that's not someone that those aren't guys you want to have to start. But again, if you have to fill them in your lineup, I think they'll be fine. But yeah, I'll go Locke. I'm not super excited about him, but I think I'll go Locke again. I am a Teddy fan too, but and last year, he did some things. Surprisingly, last year, one thing I was surprised about is how often he rushed because Teddy was never known to be like a rushing quarterback, but he ran a lot last year for whatever reason. Yeah. But so I don't know if he would possibly bring that element, if he happened to be the starter, that would be kind of interesting. But I think it's Locke's job to lose.
Yeah, I agree. I think of the two, Locke has the upper hand, even though Bridgewater had a decent season last year. I mean, he was a bit of a runner in college, not as much, but yeah, last year was just an anomaly. I mean, I don't know if he was just like, hey, look, I finally have a chance to play, so I'm just going to do whatever and see what happens. Maybe someone will sign me. Oh, hey, what's up, Denver? So, yeah, I think Locke's got the upper hand. And like I said, I mean, the receiving core there is very, very good. So if Locke can get the ball to them, they're going to be an interesting combination. But other than that, I'm not really interested in these guys.
Yeah, no, I mean, in normal redraft leagues, like you're not going anywhere near these guys, and even if one sort of takes over, I don't think we care. I'd be very shocked if we're like running to the waiver wire to pick them up. Yeah,
unless every other quarterback is injured, and
we've had years like that. QB1? So unfortunately, but Yeah, I we hear good things out of camp from Locke so far. Not camp, but, whatever it is right now, OTAs. Take that for what you will, but you would rather hear good things than bad things, and that just leans me toward what you're saying, Troy, where I think this is Locke's job to lose. And so the ADP being Bridgewater 35 and Locke 36 sort of is weird. And in Scott Fishbowl, you didn't see it going that way, at least not in my league or any of the mocks I did. Locke always went before Bridgewater. So I'm actually shocked to see off Fantasy Pros that Bridgewater's going early. Maybe people are just buying into the, Locke is terrible, and we know he is, but Bridgewater came in and he has to be the guy, right? Yeah.
I want to say, I'm trying to pull my grid up. I think the same guy has both of them in my league.
If you're gonna do it, that's the way to do it.
He's all about the West. Put it that way. He's our 12. He's from IDP guys, actually. Andrew Bidlake.
Nice.
Yeah. If you can do it, there's a couple teams like that where the quarterback situation is sort of iffy. If you can get both, like the Saints, right? Get the Saints guys. Get the Denver guys. Those are the two teams that I can think of right at the top of my head. Those are the teams where, if you're going to draft one, you got to go both. Who? San Fran. Yeah, San Fran's. Well, the problem is Wilson's going really early. Or not Wilson.
Lance.
Yeah, Trey Lance. Lance is going. He went really early in draft. So at least with the other two teams that I mentioned, they're all going really late. Oh man, yeah. Trey Lance went QB 18 in mine, and I was like, "Whoa, have fun!"
But that same guy, he was at the 1-2. He's got both of them. Him and Garoppolo, he got his QB 34. So it's
Garoppolo went dirt cheap.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, that was very interesting. But all right, next question here. We're gonna jump into the Chargers, and honestly, is there? If somebody, we all know this offense is going to be lit, as you mentioned earlier, but if besides Herbert injuring himself, is there any one player, if he goes down, Herbert's not going to be what we think he's going to be?
Yeah, I would say, I think Keenan Allen. I think if Keenan Allen gets hurt, and then I think second would be Austin Eckler, right? Because those are the two best offensive weapons. Another thing I say, if I'm gonna go kind of I would say, and this most likely isn't gonna happen, right? But let's say another thing that might hurt him, and let's say that it's not Anthony Lynn anymore. It's gonna be a different offensive system. What if near the goal line they just run the ball in, right? And obviously that takes points away from Herbert.
Yeah,
maybe that might hurt him too. I don't expect that. I expect Herbert to get his touchdowns and still be great. But there's always a possibility. We don't know exactly how the offense is going to look now under this new regime. So, we'll see what happens. But I'd say overall, I think Herbert's a locked-in QB1. But, there's different factors that could definitely affect his outlook for sure.
Yeah, one thing to look at there, too, with LA was the defense. The defense faced some pretty major injuries last year with Derwin James, and then Bosa missed 4 games too.
Yeah.
So, if those two guys alone are healthy, that changes the whole landscape for that defense. Again, it is a new coaching system, so I don't know how that'll play into everything yet. That's a kind of TBD, but those are two key players for that defense. And if they were healthy all season long, things might have been a little bit different.
A little more conservative on the offensive side. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Absolutely. Yeah. So, all right, last question for quarterbacks.
All right, so quarterbacks, we're going to wrap it up here with the Raiders. I told you I'm in baseball home run derby mode, and and Berman wasn't there. Dad is still going back. No, so can Derek Carr somehow manage to turn into at least a streaming quarterback with this ridiculous crop of young wide receiving talent?
I think he can. So last year he finished as the QB 13, right? So it's not like Derek Carr doesn't have the bit. Granted, a lot of that had to do with Darren Waller. So this year he still has Darren Waller. So he's still going to be the number one target. So as long as he has him, that's obviously going to benefit Derek Carr. And the whole wide receiver core, it's definitely up in the air, right? So I'm assuming Henry Ruggs is going to be the one, but they just brought in John Brown. So John Brown, for me, I think that some people are undervaluing him in his career. As long as he's been healthy, he's been a viable fantasy option. Not like a wide receiver one, but he has the ability to produce maybe low end wide receiver 2 numbers, if that. He's going as like wide receiver 57, right? And I know they have like Brian Edwards there, but to me, I'm not a Brian Edwards guy, but I know he dealt with injuries last year, so maybe that's not fair to him. So again, we have no idea who the wide receiver one on the team is going to be. I think there's going to be Ruggs because of the draft capital they spent on him. They want him to be the one, but I think they
targeted him last year though. That's tough
to
say, man. But
I think they're going to make it a priority to, get him more involved in the offense because he is talented. He's more like a speed guy. So I think they're going to make it more a priority. So I do think, but I am worried about that offensive line, though. It is a lot worse. They traded guys. They cut guys. So I am worried about that for Derek Carr, but I think he could be a viable streaming option. I'm just not extremely excited about it. He is good for Superflex. I mean, not Superflex. Scott Fishbowl. I took him in the Scott Fishbowl.
Yeah,
he fits that format because he's an accurate quarterback, and
he's even better than Scott Fishbowl, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Because of the efficiency, I paired him with Waller. So boom,
that's perfect.
Loved it.
Trying to, and then you guys were like, "No, go Wentz, go Wentz." You specifically. I mean, granted, I think Wentz.
But you
has
botched your first quarterback pick. At least I got Brady. I forget who your first quarterback pick was.
Yeah, it was Wentz.
No.
Yeah, so you had to go upside.
Yeah,
you couldn't go safe with Carr at that point. That's why I said it.
No. I mean, if he would have came back to me, then I would have got
100%. Yeah.
Did he come back to me? No. Your boy Bidlake got him. Right, 4 picks later. I was like, okay, there it goes.
All right, well, let's jump into some running backs here. So, running backs are honestly a little more interesting. So, we got Austin Eckler at 10, Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 16, Josh Jacobs at 18, Melvin Gordon at 28, Javonte Williams at 30, Kenyan Drake at 35, Justin Jackson at 69, Joshua Kelly at 77. And then, so first question here, we're going to go back to the Raiders here right away. And the question's sort of interesting. It's just like, what happened to Josh Jacobs that they had to bring in Drake, and now Jacobs' stock has fallen dramatically, obviously because of it. But like, what happened? I mean, like Jacobs was a top. He was a first-round pick 2 years ago. I think he was a second-round pick last year. Now he's going. I mean, 18th running back off the board seems sort of early for him, honestly. I had not seen him go that early in a while.
So I got a lot to say about the subject, right? So the way I feel, Josh Jacobs is extremely talented, right? When he gets the opportunity to. And if for some reason John Gruden does not like using him in the passing game, it's the most bizarre thing in the world because in college
he's talented.
He's talented and he could catch the ball, but for whatever reason he rather use like Booker and like Jalen Richard, like and just throwing everybody on the field but Jacobs. And then you bring Kenyan Drake in, who's a very talented running back. He had a good year with the Cardinals last year.
Right.
And they also gave him a decent contract. It wasn't just like regular backup money. They gave him a
100%.
decent amount of money. So for me, I think not only is he going to take away work on third downs in the passing game, he's also going to take away rushes from Jacobs, right? And I think he's going to be one of those annoying running backs who's going to like steal goal line touchdowns, right? I think Jacobs is still the RB1, but I believe that all these things are factoring into why Jacobs is, lower. And also, like I just talked about, the offensive line is worse. So you have a worse offensive line. You have a more talented running back coming in. Like, these aren't good signs. And you already aren't getting targeted. So you're probably not going to get more targets now based off of all these scenarios. So I am very skeptical on Jacobs. But again, it's like a format like Dynasty. This is the perfect time to try to buy him because everyone's so low on him. But I just hate it.
Yeah, it's tough, man, because, like, you think about it, like, last year they were pumping up Jacobs. They're like, oh, we're going to get him, a bunch of more, work in the passing game, and blah, blah, blah. Like, that was a big thing coming out of camp. And they did. They legit did. Then you bring in Drake, who I think we can all arguably say that he's probably better pass catching than Jacobs at this point, especially with what he's done in his NFL career. They're both 1,000-yard rushers. It's just a crazy mix. So, yeah, I have steered clear of this backfield. I could be totally wrong. I mean, you know what's going to happen, right? Like, I'm going to steer clear of it completely. One of these guys is going to get hurt, and the other one's going to be a top 5 running back. And you're going to be like, damn it. But it's like, good luck flipping that coin, and being right. So that's the way I go about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's, to me, I don't understand the free fall for Jacobs, other than the fact that Gruden was probably like, oh, wait, we totally botched this because we just destroyed our offensive line. So now we need another running back. Quick, let's go out and get somebody else to help.
Well, Rashard's gone, right? He's gone, and
no,
I think he might still be on the
there.
team. Yeah.
there's one of their guys left.
Booker's
Booker's gone. That's what it is. So Booker's gone. So they had to bring in somebody. If you can get Drake cheap, because Drake was underutilized last year in Arizona, so they got him for cheap.
Oh, exactly.
Cheapish.
And that's kind of that's kind of Drake's career, though. He's been like just kind of this other guy that's been in backfields throughout his career until he finally broke out and got the chance with the Cardinals. So I think this, another thing to look at too is the fact that we have an extra game that matters. So I think that you're going to see a little bit more running back by committee this year than we've really seen in the past. Yeah, and I mean, it's just been like
every team at 3
climb.
So
now it's like this, so it'll be interesting. But I'm staying away from this backfield as well for now.
Not even close. So,
all right. So moving on to KC. I mean, is it basically okay to assume that everybody in fantasy football, we were a little early on the CEH hype train? We'll say a year. Granted, their backfield has thinned out a little bit since the offseason. Or in the offseason. I mean, what are you looking at for Kansas City's backfield this year?
I have a lot to say about this. So last year, as you kind of alluded to, right? So once he landed at KC, he was the number 1 rookie in rookie drafts. People were taking him in the, back of the first, mid first, sometimes top 5. Like he was supposed to be
6, yeah.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like and everyone talking about, he was drafted to this team. Mahomes handpicked him. He's going to get all these targets. And that didn't come to fruition. Like he didn't get the targets that we were expecting. And he had a very solid rookie season. The problem is, based off of all the hype and where he was going, he needed to be like a finishing top 5. And clearly that did not happen. And, there was, his demise of, when Le'Veon Bell was signed, everyone was like, oh my gosh, he's dead. And clearly Le'Veon Bell didn't do anything. Darrell Williams got a lot of work, but, he's Darrell Williams. He's not anything special. So he's still there, but they didn't bring in another running back. They didn't draft another running back. So it's clear that, CEH is still going to be the guy. The only thing that I'm going to be concerned about is kind of like last year. For some reason, when they get to the goal line, the Chiefs do everything in the universe but run the ball. They do reverses, they do flips, they do everything in the world now, and then they just don't hand the ball off, which is bizarre to me. But hey, it works. So
well, I wonder if that's because of that first game, right, where they tried to hand the ball off to CH like 3-4 times in a row, and it was just like stuff, and then it happened time and time again. Like, he couldn't bust through. And so, like, maybe there's a reason for that. You know, they had to do those, you know, I know you're talking about those little flips to Kelsey. Those things work, though, man. They're like, those are awesome. And, you know, you do the little reverses to Pringle or even Tyreek, and he just runs around the other side, you know. Yeah. But it's always those little forward passes, too, because it's always in front of Mahomes just to get him his fantasy stats. Yeah. Mahomes owners are loving it, but
it's like three step. No, five step. Come on, forward.
no, it's literally like hike, pass forward. It's like a shuffle pass. It's like chest pass in basketball, man. I'm sort of trying to like. I have CEH pretty low in my rankings as far as as far as where he was last year. Like, but I'm starting to like buy into this. Like, well, maybe he's a little undervalued. Maybe this year because they, you know, obviously as you mentioned, Bell's not going to be around. They got rid of Williams, at least one of them. It's you know, maybe this is gonna be his year. Maybe he is, and he was banged up. You know, he got a lot of work at first. Got banged up. Brought in Bell, was still not, I think, 100% healthy, and so now maybe he can come into the season fully healthy with a real off season, and be the guy that we all thought he could be. I still probably won't draft him until the end of the second round, but. You know, I've seen him go later than that. So, yeah, if he's sitting there, if I have an early pick, and if he's sitting there at the end of the second round, and if I don't have a running back, or if I want to go running back, quick come back with a top receiver, yeah, I mean, I think he'd be somebody to be sure to target there. Like, there's a lot of upside there with him. He's a super talented player, and that offense is obviously like top notch. So, moving on here to Denver, let's talk about real quick here. All right, so we got Javonte Williams, we got Mel Gordon. Their ADPs are really close. But are we undervaluing Mel Gordon and overvaluing Javonte Williams just because Mel Gordon at this point is boring and Javonte Williams is like the new rookie?
I do think so. And the reason I say that, right, because obviously for redraft, I think we're overvaluing him a bit because I don't believe that Javonte day one, week one, is going to be the RB1 of that offense. I personally don't. Because I believe that we've said this for years, right? Like people have wanted Melvin Gordon to fade away, and they always want like the backup running back to take over, right? Whether it's Royce Freeman, whether it's Austin Eckler, you know, everyone's expecting, you know, Melvin Gordon to just fade away and for some reason like not get the carries, or like Philip Lindsay, obviously too. Like people are always expecting
top notch, man. I love
him. But the problem is Melvin Gordon. They always use him on the goal line. He's efficient. He's efficient in terms of scoring touchdowns, right? He's not efficient in terms of his yards.
Definitely not.
But he gets the opportunity. And for me, I believe that, you know, I'd see, you know, maybe by the end of the season, Javonte earns that RB1 spot. But I feel like the first few weeks, he's gonna wait a while. Like, Melvin Gordon is not gonna hand the job to him, right? Like Melvin Gordon is good at what he does in terms of, you know, getting first, second down. He's a good pass catcher and on the goal line. So I think he's a little bit overvalued and people just don't like him. So
yeah, I mean, he's boring. It's the yards per carry argument that you hear all over the place with him. What's funny though is like his yards per carry was actually pretty decent last year, 4.6, and people are just like ignoring that. It obviously has been lower than that.
That was an anomaly. That's
I mean, it's like I mean, whatever. Like, don't forget he was on the new team for once. Yeah. You know, it's been 3.5, 3.9, 3.9. Then 5.1 in 2018, which was like an anomaly again, and then back to 3.8. But then it goes to a new team, and he's at 4.6. So it's like, well, okay, maybe that's the thing. But of course, he got hurt, and that didn't help. And yeah, it's just this thing with Melvin Gordon. I get it. Like, I still don't like him a lot because I think he is sort of a guy. He's not going to win you a league, honestly. But his ADP is so low. It's like, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I almost went after him in Scott Fish, and here again, it's
I was this close to getting
another handcuff, where the guy right in front of me picked Javonte as RB29, and 3 rounds later came back and grabbed Gordon right before I had a chance to. in the 10th as RB35. It's like, all right, well, I still need quarterbacks, so I took Sam Darnold. Whatever. I as much as my team looks like hot trash, I don't know if it could be worse than the first two that I've put out there.
Well,
I actually
considering all your quarterbacks got hurt the first couple of years.
Well, yeah, and
that didn't help.
People just underperformed. I mean, I made some kind of mistake calls, I guess, early, but I went after my guys pretty much every round because I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to try this and see what happens.
Absolutely.
You know, and I was good with it. So, all right, moving on here. Let's go back into the actual LAC scene here. So who should fantasy players be targeting behind Eckler in this backfield? You got Justin Jackson, and you've got I just had his name in front of me.
Joshua Williams.
Josh, yes, thank you.
Josh Kelly.
Yeah, Josh Kelly.
Yeah, Joshua Kelly. Sorry to say Williams. We both screwed that up. Was the question not there?
What?
Oh, it's not in there. All right,
It's
sorry.
not?
I wrote it on the show sheet. My bad.
Oh, no worries, but I'm gonna go Justin Jackson. So I believe Justin Jackson because last year there was hype circling Joshua Kelly, right? And people were also talking about, oh, maybe he was gonna, surpass Eckler. But in the opportunities that he had, he didn't look that impressive. And then when Justin Jackson was healthy, he was playing ahead of him, and he was very involved in the passing game last year when Eckler was hurt. And then Joshua Kelly was the benefactor of Austin Eckler being hurt and Justin Jackson being hurt, right? That's why he saw more work. And then he was getting outplayed by Kalen Balazs, So I'm like, to me, that tells me what I need to know about Joshua Kelly. Unless he's put in some serious work in the offseason, give me Justin Jackson.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And that's why I took Jackson with my last, second to last pick in Fish, but the last one I made. And I took Darrell Williams because I took CH early. So I was like,
those are good. Those are good.
These guys
hangouts.
are just sitting here as obvious handcuffs. Okay, fine. I'll take them.
Yeah, and easy cuts when you need them to be. So that's perfect.
Exactly.
So, all right, let's jump into the wide receivers, AJ.
All right, so going with wide receivers, we've got Hill at 1. Shocker. Allen at 10. Cortland Sutton, 32. Jerry Jeudy is 37. Mike Williams is 49. Henry Ruggs, first Charger, first draft pick of the Raiders, 54. You got Mecole Hardman at 60, John Brown 63, Josh Palmer at 78, Brian Edwards at 88, and Byron Pringle at 91. That's Brian Pringle, isn't it?
Byron. It's Byron.
It is
Byron.
Byron. All right.
It is Byron.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, you have Byron there, I think. I said Byron first, and I was like, wait, isn't it? I know. The Chips guy.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So, Joe, start us off with Denver.
All right, man. So start with Denver, and we've talked a little bit about this already, but let's just think about depending on which quarterback is actually starting, which receiver benefits the most. So let's start with Locke. Like which receiver benefits from Locke starting?
I'll go Cortland Sutton, and I know it's close between him and Jeudy, but to me, I think Sutton is the wide receiver 1 on the team. So, and I know that they have some rapport, and I know that Jeudy and Locke built something.
Hey, 2 years ago they were good. Cortland Sutton was legit, dude.
I'm
I
gonna
like
go
that.
Sutton.
That's where I was going to go. So, is there any difference? And you can just answer no, and we can move on. If Bridgewater is under center,
no, I think it's
still
going to be
always Sutton. You don't think Jerry Jeudy gets a little boost with anybody?
Not really. I think he's the wide receiver too. I think he's close. Maybe 1A, 1B.
I'm a big Jeudy fan. I think he's going to take a big step this year. Honestly, I really do. But it's hard to surpass Sutton, who has done it before, and we know how good he can be. I do think that him and Locke obviously have something. it will be very interesting to see like if they throw in Bridgewater. Like the Denver Broncos are one of those teams in the preseason where I'm going to really watch, like see if they mix and match like starters on quarterback in the preseason games, right? With games like one, because there's only 3 now, right? So they're going to have to play the starters to figure some things out. If they put, I would think they would put in Lock one game and then Bridgewater the next and see who has the best chemistry. Just let's figure it out. It will, but that will also tell you like who is Bridgewater looking at, who's Lock looking at, type of thing. That will be a telltale sign right there. So my thing is that, you know, obviously Lock and Sutton have a thing. We literally have no idea with Bridgewater. So
yeah, and the one thing to take from this too is, at least, you know, one of the things I look at in preseason is these backups, because you have the backup quarterback who's usually practicing more with, you know, the lower receivers, and they start forming a nice chemistry, a nice bond. It doesn't always happen, but you know, you've seen it with receivers, you've seen it with tight ends, especially, I feel like, too. Like those quarterbacks come in and then they're like, where's my safety net? Oh, it's this guy over here. And obviously Judy is still, granted, he's wide receiver too, but it's again a 1A 1B scenario. So I think he might get a little bit more of a boost with Bridgewater personally, because Locke just doesn't. He either overthrows him or underthrows him for whatever reason. It just seems like they just aren't on the same page. So if Locke's in, I think Sutton is the obvious benefactor. If it's Bridge, I think Sutton's still the one, but I think Judy gets a boost. So going to LAC, will Josh Palmer open the season in these 3 wide receiver sets for LA over you got Guyton, you got Tyron Johnson, or is he more of a dynasty play for this year?
Yeah, I'll keep it pretty brief. I think he's more of a dynasty player. I think that, you know, I think he's a cool sleeper, but I think, you know, either Guyton or Johnson is going to be that, you know, that 3. You know, hopefully Palmer can, you know, outperform, you know, my expectations, but I think he's more of a dynasty guy.
yeah, I'm not really touching any of these guys. So I think we can move on here. Over to the Chiefs here, and you know everybody's always interested in the wide receiver 2 for the Chiefs, and I've shied away for years because of Watkins, and I just want nothing to do with him for obvious reasons. But you know now we're looking at possibly Byron Pringle, we're looking at Demarcus Robinson, and Harmon, right? I mean, like Hardman's who's gonna be this wide receiver 2 in this offense for real that we care about?
So it should be Mecole Hardman, right? And I've been a Mecole Hardman truther for years, and it's been letting me down. So he should be it since Sammy Watkins is out. But, you know, Byron Pringle, he's been getting a lot of hype, you know, and they gave him that tender. And, like, yeah, he's just some random guy. You know, Demarcus Robinson's still there too. And, like, he's played ahead of Mecole Hardman for years, so he might be the wide receiver too, right? These aren't sexy guys, but if I had to pick one, I'm going to go Demarcus Robinson just because I feel like he's on the field more in terms of snap percentage than the other guys, so I'll say Demarcus Robinson. It's not sexy, but I think it's going to be him.
Man, that is like far off the ADP. That not to say you're wrong, but like, I mean, Hardman's being drafted as the 60th wide receiver right now, so it's like, man, and I didn't even list Williams or Robinson because he's not even in the top 100. It's crazy, but yeah, I mean, if you look at snap percentage from last year, Robinson's at 68%. Hardman was at 44.
Exactly.
Pringle's not even on this damn list right now for some reason. I don't know why.
His was pretty low. Like he was on the field, but like Robinson was by far like he kept out snapping everybody else. So to me, is Mecole Hardman going to make that much of a step forward? Which I'm like, because last year I thought Mecole Hardman had it right, but he consistently kept playing behind Robinson. So to me, I think Robinson might spot that too.
Yeah, I'm all in on on Robinson this year. I think it's going to be him. I just like the upside, and Pringle's he's had some good flashes and whatnot. Miko's just been disappointing, as a second round pick. So I think Robinson, especially with Sammy not being there this year, I think he might be able to benefit and pick up, a bigger portion of that target share that was going to Sammy Watkins. And I mean, shit, we all know Sammy was good for like 3 touchdowns a game
in week 1.
And then, like again,
and then it was dead
week 11, because he was injured for weeks 2 through 8 and didn't do a damn thing from 9 and 10. I mean, that is kind of the scary part of this, because you still have Hill as an obvious, 1A, 1B with Kelsey. CEH is there. He could hopefully pick up some of that target share. You've got Darrell Williams. You still have Darwin Thompson. I mean, we didn't even talk about him. I mean,
I keep forgetting about that guy.
How much freaking hype train was that guy on? I mean, holy crap.
He was like middle rounds of drafts that year that he was drafted.
Every single person was like, come on, 8th round. Come on, I need my Darwin.
Well, it's because their starters sucked.
And everybody was so pissed off that they'd missed out on Darwin Thompson. And he did absolutely nothing. So
glad I got him nowhere.
Yeah.
Thankfully. I missed and won.
Yeah, exactly. That's a miss I'm happy I took. But I agree. I think Robinson's the guy. I think he's just going to step up. I think he's going to have a good season. He's got a comfort level, and he hit all kinds of career highs last year. Granted, they weren't great career highs, but they were career highs for him. So he's only got up to go.
100%, man. All right. Next.
Sorry, I had to sip on my Florida man.
You talked too much. You were thirsty.
I was.
I get it.
I went on a bit of a rant there. So,
I get it. Troy's now thirsty. You got it.
All right. Thank you. See, Troy understands my plight. All right. So going back to the Raiders here. Now, we kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier with John Brown coming in and being a bit of a quality play, but does him being added to this receiving room, does it damage the value of Edwards or Ruggs any more than them just being in the Raiders receiving core does?
So the way I think of it is, I think personally that it damages Bryan Edwards more. I believe that. So, and I'm kind of iffy about it, right? Because John Brown kind of fits a little bit about what Henry Ruggs does, speed guy going down the field. But kind of like I alluded to earlier in the show, I believe they really want to be featuring Ruggs in the offense, right? I believe that, they use that draft capital on him. So to me, I think Ruggs is safe. Bryan Edwards, he was drafted a few rounds after him. He doesn't have the same draft capital. I don't know how much they, obviously they want him to do well. They believe in him. He has the body type of a wide receiver 1, but John Brown, he's a vet. He's solid. So I believe that he will hurt Bryan Edwards more than he will hurt Ruggs.
Yeah.
I totally agree. AJ, you go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I mean, I like them bringing Brown in. I think it was a good move because he is a quality player when he's healthy. Obviously, both of these guys, Edwards and Ruggs, dealt with their own injury issues last year. So now again, it's like Gruden being like, we have 2 injury concerns. We need more. Let's bring in a third one. And then this one's injured, and we still have 2 good guys. And then I don't know. I think Brown. I don't know if he necessarily damages the value of either of these guys. I think they want their younger guys to be the go-to, and have Brown more as like a safety net. So I don't necessarily see it as detrimental, but again, if somebody's injured then I think John Brown could jump in and step up and play well like we've seen in the past. And he's a good deep threat kind of guy. So I think that alone might, hit Ruggs a little bit more, but yeah, I don't know.
I think John Brown's going to be featured in this offense a little more than everybody likes. He's not being drafted that way. Well, he's being drafted below Ruggs, but ahead of Edwards, which is right. But I'd be afraid about how he actually doesn't mix well with Ruggs either, especially the way they used him last year. Because all they used Ruggs last year was like deep routes, and I don't think he should have been used that way. I think he's better than that. No. I think he's more of an intermediate guy. He just get the ball, get him in space, and run. He can go deep, but when offenses realized that all they were using him for was, deep routes, like, okay, fine. That's all they were going to cover. So maybe that's what they brought in Brown for. Like, okay, hey, Brown, now you go long. Now we're going to get our faster, younger guy the ball and go underneath. So, again, a lot to digest here as we go through camps and things like that. But that will be a situation that Las Vegas receiving core will be something that I would be paying attention to, because I think there is value there to be found for sure. So moving on here to tight ends to finish up, we got the Travis Kelce at number 1, obviously. We got Waller at 3. We got Noah Fant at 7. And then Jared Cook at 19. And then, I was going to list some of the other guys, but they just weren't there, so it didn't really matter. Not even in the 20s, not even in the 30s. It was just like, we're done. So
we're good. Yeah.
This could be probably the quickest answer of the entire night, but AJ, go ahead.
Is there any reason not to have Travis Kelce as the fantasy tight end 1 entering the season?
0. He's been the tight end 1 since 2016. He's going to be the tight end 1 again. That was probably the easy question you had.
Yeah. I was going to say, can I chug while you're doing that? Because it'll be the shortest chug of the night. Yeah.
I mean, sure.
We done.
Moving on.
Yeah. So, all right. So there's a little bit of a debate here. Darren Waller, is he the tight end 2 or the tight end 3 with Kittle entering the 2021 season? How do you see it?
Darren Waller is the tight end 2 among tight ends. And the reason why I feel that way is because we kind of alluded to it, right? The Raiders wide receiving core isn't that impressive. Darren Waller should still see more targets, right? And then also because the offensive line for the Raiders is worse, I believe that Derek Carr has to get the ball out quicker. And, Darren Waller, lower ADOT. So I think there's just going to be more targets for him. With Kittle, I think he's still going to do his thing, but the San Francisco offense it's not like a normal offense, right? They obviously are more run heavy, but also they just are so creative, right? They're just doing sweeps and all these different kind of ways of, creative plays. And I think that might hurt Kittle, quote unquote, hurt Kittle slightly compared to like Waller getting his targets.
Yeah. So there's two things. Like it is a big debate in my head, even still. Like Kittle has the injury history, which doesn't help. He's in an offense, which you said is very creative, gives the ball out to many different people. But that also includes him, and he gets the ball out in space big time. And when he gets the ball out in space, man, he's a force. He's hard to bring down. So there's that. Then there's Waller, right, who is a target hog. But with the offensive line being worse, maybe I wonder if they're going to bring him in to block a little more.
I don't know.
That's just one thought I've had. I'm still Waller over Kittle because of the injuries more than anything, and because I still think the wide receiving core is not quite there for the Raiders, and Waller's going to be like the wide receiver 1 on that team. But I wonder if because the offensive line isn't good, and they might bring him in to block a little more, that we're overvaluing Waller just slightly.
I don't know. I think he's gonna be. I still think he's gonna be solid at tight end.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fine, but he's being drafted like I've seen him go like I took him in 1-8 in Scott Fish, so I'm hoping I'm right there. But in normal redraft leagues, I see him go mid-second, late second at worst. I just wonder if that's worth it, considering the change in the offense.
I think it is. I mean, you're looking at a guy who we've already said is the target hog of the team. Josh Jacobs isn't taking any targets away from him. We know that.
But now they brought in Drake, right? They brought in Drake,
okay.
and
So
if they're not gonna release Waller as much because of the offensive line, they need help to protect Carr.
Well, again, maybe
this is something to think about.
Yeah, but maybe they brought Drake in to help protect, or they're going to throw Jacobs out to help protect, or those two are just going to be PPR monsters because Carr's going to be running for his life and be like, and just throw the ball 6 yards across the field, and they're going to take it and run. Hopefully, Waller just goes and pushes them out the way and catches it and then goes. I don't know.
I like Waller. I'm just trying to be devil's advocate, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah. I can see that, but I'm not worried about him being held back as much, especially knowing and owning Kittle for multiple years and dealing with the injuries, knowing that history. It's a run first team, and they have 15 different running backs that they can pass the ball off to. And then they
also have like three pretty decent, like two or three pretty decent receivers. They're all kind of the same.
Brandon Ayuk is good,
right?
I probably butchered his name. I don't know. Ayuk. I don't fucking know. Nanook, whatever. The guy in the igloo can catch a fucking ball.
Oh my gosh!
But I mean, there's a lot of options that are trustworthy in San Fran.
Yeah.
In LV, I mean, they're trustworthy.
Hard not to do that,
right? Down in Oakland, but no, it's Waller. It's almost like a 2A, 2B. Both of them are going to be studs, and both of them are going to get the ball, but you're not going to go wrong with either one unless you're looking from it, from a health perspective. Then you've got to go.
Yeah, I think that's why it gives Waller the boost. He's generally been healthier than Kittle, so that's why we do it.
And you've just screwed both of our Scottfish teams. Thanks.
You did already by drafting.
That would have been me,
and that you drafted him, so we're done. Goodbye.
Boy.
Yeah, but then do you want me to reel off the land of confusion drafting that I did? I'll do that later.
No.
So, LA. I mean, it's we'll say a much less stable tight end situation. This is probably another just layup shot here. But rank the top 3 tight ends as you see them in their production for 2021. You've got Donald Parham, you've got old man Jared Cook, and you've got Trey McKitty.
I say it's Jared Cook, space, Donald Parham, space, Trey McKitty.
You mean the enter? You mean the answer bar?
Yeah, yep,
we're doing paragraphs at this point.
Yeah,
I get it.
Of Microsoft Word, where you do the little red corrections and just skip a ton of space. Of course, it's gonna be Jared Cook. I mean, I was reading this question. I'm like,
Parham's it was sexy last year, and sexy right after Henry got traded, and now Cook is like, all right, but like I get it though, like Cook to some degree is like he's old, he's just kind of a touchdown red zone guy, short yardage, like,
but he's productive.
But it works.
I'm like sarcastically calling him old. He's good. He
is old. But it's fine.
Well, yeah. Okay, so he's lost a step. He's still better right now than Antonio Gates in his, post prime. That's how I look at Cook, and I love me some Antonio Gates. So
Yeah.
that means
In a very, very deep league, I'm semi interested in Parham. Like, especially in Dynasty, I might take a stab at him late.
Dynasty, why not? I mean,
Because I think the guy's
Yeah,
talented.
he's-
I'm just, and Cook's probably there for a year. Like,
yeah, I mean,
how much longer Cook really going to be there? So, like, in a Dynasty league, Parham's sort of
literally
interesting.
says, rank.
Oh, I know.
2021. So
I get it.
yeah, if he's there for a year, that would be 2021. We're following that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So let's finish off the tight ends here and close things out here real quick. Moving on to Denver, a little more interesting. So we got Noah Fant there, and obviously he's the man. Where in the pecking order of targets does he actually fall? I mean, we've got Judy, we've got Sutton, we've got Lindsey, we've got Mel Gordon, we got Fant. There's others, right? I mean, Tim Patrick, if you really want to get crazy. Like, there's guys there, man. Like, where does Fant really fall in the pecking order of targets? And, I mean, he's going tight end 7. Should he be?
He's 3. So Sutton, Judy, and then Fant to me.
Okay.
Because I feel like, and the thing about it, and also him and Locke, they definitely have a great, chemistry and relationship. It's just, but he's the third option on the team. He's gonna have to rely on touchdowns. Like, hopefully he's efficient and know, but he's athletic enough where I don't think he needs a lot of volume to be able to, yards after catch and do his thing after the catch. So we're gonna have to rely on that for him to, I think, be in that middle tier, or like maybe the higher end of that middle tier of tight ends. He's gonna have to be efficient. But I think he's third on the team in terms of targets.
I think it'll be close, honestly. I do think that somebody said Denver. Yes, we did. Davis is a big Denver fan, even though he doesn't want to admit it. Yeah, but yeah, he I think it's going to be close with Fant. Third. Yeah, he'll probably out target Gordon and Lindsey or not Lindsey. Gordon, Javonte Williams, and those guys, but I'm not sure it's going to be enough to where he really could be tight end 7. Like, I'm sort of off Fant. Like, I just don't know if the quarterback play is going to be there enough to matter, and even if he does get third in targets, do we care? Because the quarterback play kind of sucks. Now, you throw in Rodgers, we're talking a whole different story here. We need to redo the show if Rodgers shows up. So you're going to come back in a week and a half, Troy, if that happens? I'm just kidding. But yeah, it's just a weird situation where, like, you might be able to rely on like one or two receivers and then like maybe one running back if they can get it right there. Other than that, I'm just kind of off this team. Like, I just don't love it. So that's my feeling on Fant there.
I think you cannot forget about Mr. Albert. I'm totally going to butcher this. Akwiagbanam.
I just call him Alberto.
I know.
Albert,
I was
yes.
thinking that. I was just like, Albert, okay. I mean,
that's what
says
they
it right
say.
there.
It's good enough.
He's 23. He's 6'5", 255. The dude is huge.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, he's built.
He's an offensive
perfectly.
lineman.
Well, he's built for being a tight end. He catches.
So he's
the
a
ball.
blocking tight end, is what you're saying.
I think he's more than that, personally.
I think he's more than that too.
Yeah, I think he's going to get a little bit more involved this year. He would be like a sleeper, week 3 random pickup for some turd injury that you have in Scott Fish. Why not? I mean, tight end bonus.
We're talking 22 rounds, Scott Fishbowl. Yeah, I get it.
No, I'm not saying draft the guy. I'm saying
no. Like week 3 pickup, and a 22 roster size Scott Fishbowl. Yeah, fine. Normal leagues, nah, we're good. Anyway, Troy, that's all we got, man. Before we let you go, we want to let you have your spot and let us know what you got going on.
Sure. Well, guys, you can find me on Twitter at @TKingMode. You can also find me if you're on TikTok. I'm on TikTok at @TKingMode as well. I'm at the Football Guys, so I'm a contributor. You can find my articles there. I have a Hopkins article, Chubb article,
Nice.
and I have a Dolphins Outlook article. And
Very good, Davis.
And I'm one of the co-hosts and I'm one of the co-hosts of the Football Guys Mailbag Show. We air every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. And right after that, I am one of the co-hosts of Fantasy Football Confidential at 9 p.m. Eastern. So check that out.
Nice.
Again, I appreciate you guys for inviting me on. It was a fun show, and appreciate everybody rocking with me.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming on, and good luck in Fish this year. And,
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We'll
See you in the finals.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
absolutely. All three of us, right? No, just kidding.
Of course, I'm winning it.
I've already told you some of my quality picks, so yeah. I
So
went
maybe
off
just
the
me and Troy?
rails. Went off the
Me and
rails
Joe
in
got it.
round 18. Went with some Tebow action, and then came back and followed that
Tebow,
up and-
good God, come on!
Oh, man, you ain't trying to win.
I don't
I
think
told
I don't
you.
even.
I
don't
went
even
from
think-
my guys. Jordan
Yikes.
Love could be a huge
Hey, you know
Yeah.
that I don't hate that.
Round
Honestly,
19.
late that could be a monster pick. Honestly,
Then
I don't
went
hate that one, but
Williams, Justin
Tebow.
Jackson. I've got one more pick. Tebow's
Man,
going to
you're
end
still
up
driving-
with. He's going to be this year's Taysom Hill and get quarterback eligibility for 1 week, and I'm going to be that guy going, "Told you, see, fuck it," and then I'm going to pay 3 quarterbacks in
it's
a
the
week.
fact that Taysom Hill is playing tight end. No, that doesn't matter. No,
Exactly.
it's not gonna work. No, doesn't work. All right, man, Troy. Thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Have a good night, brother.
Absolutely, guys.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right. So, I don't know any other fun stories. I'm afraid to ask that question, AJ.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
now that you've opened the floodgates,
I had no more beer, so you need to shut up. Actually,
what?
Yeah,
You don't
what?
get a beer?
because I only do 12ers, and I usually have a 16 of that 12. It lasts me the whole time. I was drinking fast.
I didn't even
sometimes.
go on vacation, and you disappoint me.
What?
Exactly.
Doesn't make any
Exactly. I still have another one.
Sorry,
So
I don't have a
somehow
cooler next to me like
Push
you.
it through the screen. Well, get yourself a fucking cooler. Do you need a mini cooler? I've got like 17 of them.
Yes, fine.
God damn it.
You need to build me a desk, and I need a mini cooler.
I will have a special, hook for your headphones.
Hey, you know what?
That don't
You know
even
what?
need a hook. And then
We can talk. We'll talk
for your
off air.
cooler.
But I have the perfect solution for this. We'll talk off air. Anyway, let's cool the let's end the show.
Cool
the
out.
show.
Everybody cool out.
Chill out, motherfuckers. Just kidding. All right. Let's. If I'm not stressed out about my kid enough, and my neck is hurting and stuff, and I'm stressed out about you, man.
What?
Yep.
Stressed about
It's your fault.
I'm good, man.
All right, we're gonna end the show, guys. So next
Hit the
week,
freaking button.
next
Jeff,
week,
please hit the
Hey,
button.
no, shut up.
Hit the
Next
button, Jeff.
next week, we are doing NFC East with none other than Steffi Smalls, another friend of all these Fantasy Football Confidential crew that we've been bringing on. So good guys here, good crew here. So looking forward to it. So next week, that's what we're doing. I'm done.
Thank you.
We out, Jeff.
Hit the
Let's
button,
go.
Jeff.
Am I supposed to? I think I usually hit the out button. That's right.